I stared at the bank balance, refreshing the page again and again, like a glitch in the matrix would somehow make the numbers change. But $47.13 stayed stubbornly fixed on the screen, mocking me with its inadequacy. My name is Camilla, and this was supposed to be my moment. After 18 years of my parents religiously depositing money into my college fund every month, after maintaining a 4.0 GPA through high school, after getting accepted to my dream university, this was meant to be my triumph. Instead, I was staring at financial devastation. "Mum?" I called out, my voice shakier than I wanted it to be. "Can you come here for a minute?" I heard her heels clicking on the hardwood floor before she appeared in my doorway, already wearing that dismissive expression I'd grown so familiar with. "What is it, Camilla? I'm running late for book club." "The college fund," I said, turning my laptop toward her. "It's empty. There must be some mistake." Her face didn't register surprise. Instead, she smoothed her blazer and sighed like I was being particularly dense. "We had to use that money for something else. Your father and I meant to tell you." "Something else? What could possibly—" "Landon needed help," she cut in. "He got into some trouble with his gambling, and we couldn't let him face those consequences. He's family." The room started spinning. "I'm family too. Don't be dramatic. You can take out loans like other students. Apply for scholarships. You're smart. You'll figure it out." "Figure it out?" My voice cracked. "That was 18 years of savings. My entire future. Your brother could have been hurt, Camilla. These weren't nice people he owed money to. Sometimes being family means making sacrifices." I heard the front door open and close, followed by my brother's booming voice. "Mum, did you see? Poppy said yes." Landon bounded into my room, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. Maybe he had, with my money. He was wearing a new designer watch that probably cost more than what was left in my account. "Show me the ring again," Mum squealed, completely forgetting our conversation as Landon pulled out his phone to display photos. "Isn't it perfect? The engagement party's going to be epic. I'm thinking of renting out that new venue downtown." I sat there, invisible, watching them coo over wedding plans while my university acceptance letter burned a hole in my desk drawer. The same brother who'd stolen my future was planning an extravagant party to celebrate his. "Cam, you'll help with the planning, right?" Landon asked, finally acknowledging my existence. "Poppy wants it to be perfect." I forced my face into what I hoped looked like a smile. "Of course. Wouldn't miss it. That's my girl," Mum said, patting my shoulder. "See? Everything works out. Now, I really must run. Book club waits for no one." They left me alone in my room, still staring at that pitiful bank balance. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Jet. "Did you check the fund? Ready to start packing for university?" I picked up my phone, then set it down again. Picked it up, set it down. Finally, I typed, "Can you come over? I need to tell you something." "On my way," he replied instantly. I walked to my mirror, studying my reflection. The good daughter, the quiet one, the responsible one who never caused trouble, the one whose future could be sacrificed because she'd figure it out. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was an email from the university's financial aid office, reminding me the first tuition installment was due in 3 weeks. I touched the mirror, tracing the outline of my face. "Okay," I whispered to my reflection, "let's make this worth it." When Jet arrived 20 minutes later, I was sitting cross-legged on my bed, surrounded by bank statements I'd printed out. He took one look at my face and said, "Who do I need to kill?" "My family," I replied, my voice eerily calm. "But not literally. I have something better in mind." He sat down beside me, picking up one of the statements. His eyes widened as he followed the money trail. "Holy shit, Cam. They did. And you know what the best part is?" I handed him my brother's engagement party invitation, delivered just this morning. They're about to throw a party to celebrate their perfect son. Seems like the ideal time to celebrate some other truths too, don't you think? Jet looked at me for a long moment. You're serious about this? That's the moment I stopped being their daughter, I said, gathering the statements into a neat pile, and became their reckoning. To the happy couple. Mum raised her wine glass, beaming at Landon and Poppy across our dining room table. May your love story be as perfect as you both are. I lifted my water glass mechanically, watching the ice cubes clink against each other. Perfect, right? Because nothing says perfect like stealing your sister's future to fund your gambling addiction. Camilla, Poppy chirped, her diamond ring catching the light as she gestured. I was hoping you'd help with the centerpieces. You've always had such amazing taste. Before I could respond, Mum jumped in. Oh, sweetheart, Camilla's going to be busy. She's taking some time off to work and save money for school. She said it like it was my choice, like I was being responsible instead of robbed. Time off? Poppy frowned. But I thought you got into... Plans change, I cut in, stabbing a piece of asparagus. Family comes first, right, Mom? Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably, studying his plate like it held the secrets of the universe. Landon just kept shoveling food into his mouth, completely unbothered. Speaking of plans, Landon said between bites, we're thinking about having the engagement party at the Grand. Only the best for my girl. I nearly choked on my water. The Grand was the most expensive venue in town. Interesting budget choice, I said carefully. Oh, don't worry about that. Landon waved his fork dismissively. Things have been going really well at work lately. My phone buzzed under the table. A text from Jet. Found something? Call me ASAP? Excuse me. I stood up. I need to take this. Work stuff. In my room, I called Jet immediately. What did you find? You're not going to believe this, he said. I've been digging through some online poker forums, following Landon's old username. Cam, he's not in debt anymore. He's winning. Big time. What do you mean, big time? I mean 6 figures in the last 3 months alone. He's either gotten really good really fast, or he's cheating, I finished. Can you prove it? Working on it, but there's more. Remember that bookie he used to owe money to? Guy named Frankie? I found his number. I sat down hard on my bed. Send it to me. When I returned to dinner, the conversation had moved on to flower arrangements. I watched them all. Mom coordinating details in her element, Dad nodding along absently, Poppy showing Pinterest boards on her phone, and Landon wearing a watch that probably cost more than what he'd stolen from me. Oh, remember when Camilla was little? Mum was saying. She used to arrange flowers from the garden so carefully. Always the perfectionist. A memory hit me like a punch to the gut. I was 12, arranging roses I'd grown myself for a school competition. Landon had destroyed them the night before, claiming it was an accident while roughhousing with friends. Mum had told me to stop crying, that it wasn't a big deal, that I was being too sensitive. Yeah, I said quietly. I remember. After dinner, I helped clear the dishes while the others moved to the living room. Through the kitchen doorway, I could see Landon pull out his phone, probably checking his gambling apps. My own phone felt heavy in my pocket with Frankie's number. Need help? Poppy appeared beside me, reaching for a dish towel. I'm good, I said, studying her face. She seemed genuine enough, sweet, eager to please. Did she know what kind of man she was really marrying? I'm sorry about university, she said softly. If you need help with tuition, maybe Landon and I could... Don't, I cut her off. Please. She looked hurt, but nodded and left me alone with the dishes and my thoughts. Later that night, I sat in my car outside Jet's house, staring at Frankie's number on my phone. You don't have to do this, Jet said from the passenger seat. We could find another way. They're planning a party that costs more than my entire tuition, I said. With money he's probably winning illegally after stealing my savings. Tell me again why I shouldn't do this. Because once you start down this road, he trailed off. They already chose the road, I replied, hitting dial. I'm just going to walk them down it. The phone rang 3 times before a gruff voice answered. Yeah? Is this Frankie? I need to talk to you about Landon Bowen. A pause. Who is this? Someone who knows he paid you off with stolen money, and someone who thinks you might be interested in knowing where that money really came from. Want to meet? Another pause, longer this time. Corner of 5th and Main. 1 hour, come alone. I hung up and looked at Jet. Want to help me destroy my brother's perfect life? He sighed, but I could see the slight smile tugging at his lips. Like, I'd let you do this alone. Frankie's office turned out to be a booth in the back of a 24-hour diner. He nursed a coffee while eyeing me suspiciously across the sticky table. So, you're his sister, he said, more statement than question. Gotta say, you don't look much like him. Lucky me. I slid my phone across the table, showing him a bank statement. Recognize these transactions? He squinted at the screen. Yeah, that was his last payment. But he cleared that debt months ago. With my college fund. Money he didn't have permission to touch. Frankie leaned back, crossing his arms. Look, kid, what do you want from me? Money's money. I don't ask where it comes from. No, but you might be interested in knowing he forged documents to get it, and that my father helped him do it. His eyebrows shot up. Fred helped? That quiet bastard always acted like he was above it all. Tell me everything, I said, pressing record on my phone under the table. An hour later, I sat in my car, replaying the conversation. Frankie had painted a detailed picture of Landon's spiral, the increasing debts, the desperate schemes, and finally, the forged documents that gave him access to my account. My phone buzzed. Jet had been busy too. Found the poker forums where he's winning. He's using multiple accounts and definitely cheating. Want the proof? Send everything, I typed back. The next morning, I visited Poppy at the boutique where she worked. She was arranging dresses on a rack when I walked in. Camilla? What a surprise! Her smile seemed genuine, but something flickered in her eyes. Uncertainty. Guilt. Just wanted to talk about the engagement party, I said brightly. Such an exciting time. Oh, yes, we're finalizing the guest list. It's going to be amazing. I bet. Landon's really gone all out with the budget. She paused mid-fold. He's doing well at work. Is that what he told you? I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Or did he mention his poker winnings? The dress slipped from her hands. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because I have proof he's running a cheating scheme across multiple online poker sites, the same sites he used to rack up debts that he paid off with my stolen money. Her face went pale. Camilla, Save it. Just know that when everything comes out, and it will come out, you might want to distance yourself. Unless... I studied her reaction carefully. You already knew? The way she wouldn't meet my eyes told me everything. Back home, I found Dad in his study, staring at paperwork. He jumped when I entered. Working late? I asked innocently. Just catching up on some things. I perched on the edge of his desk. Like helping Landon forge documents? The colour drained from his face. Who told you that? Frankie says hi. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Dad's hand started shaking as Frankie's voice detailed exactly how they'd accessed my account. Camilla, please. Your mother can't know about this. It would destroy her. Destroy her? I laughed bitterly. Like you destroyed my future? We had no choice. Landon was in trouble, and now He's winning thousands in illegal online poker schemes while I work nights at a coffee shop. Some trouble. Dad's head snapped up. What do you mean, winning? Oh, you didn't know? Your perfect son isn't just gambling anymore. He's cheating and winning big. But instead of paying back what he stole from me, he's planning a party at the Grand. I stood up, heading for the door. Better hope none of his poker buddies find out about his cheating. Those guys tend to take it personally. Wait, Dad called after me. What are you going to do? I paused in the doorway. Nothing. I'm just the good daughter, remember? The one who sacrifices everything for family. That night, I sat cross-legged on my bed, surrounded by printouts of Landon's poker activities, bank statements, and Frankie's recorded confession. Jet had traced the IP addresses of Landon's multiple accounts, proving he was using automated programs to cheat. My phone lit up with a text from Poppy. Can we talk, please? Another message popped up, this one from Mum. Don't forget. Engagement party planning meeting tomorrow. Everyone's counting on you. I looked at the evidence spread across my bed, then at the invitation to the engagement party at the Grand. The perfect venue for the perfect couple's perfect celebration. Oh, I'll be there, I whispered, starting to organise the documents into a folder. And I'm bringing receipts. Well, look what the karma dragged in. I turned to find Aunt Eliza leaning against her car in the mall parking lot, exactly where she'd asked to meet. Her red lipstick matched her vintage Corvette, and her smile held secrets. Thanks for coming, I said. I wasn't sure you would. When my favourite niece texts me about family secrets and revenge, how could I resist? She patted the passenger seat. Get in. We need coffee for this conversation. 10 minutes later, we sat in a quiet cafe, away from prying ears. Eliza stirred her latte, studying me over the rim of her cup. So, Margaret finally did it to someone else? She said. I was wondering when history would repeat itself. What do you mean? Oh, honey, you think you're the first person your mother has stolen from in the name of family? She pulled out an old envelope from her purse. 23 years ago, I had saved up to start my own business. Margaret convinced our parents I was unstable and needed the money managed for me. Next thing I knew, it had all gone to her, down payment on that house they still live in. My hands shook as I read the old bank statements. She never paid you back? Worse. She told everyone I was lying about the money, that I was just jealous of her perfect life. Sound familiar? That's why you stopped coming to family events. That, and I couldn't stand watching her play St. Margaret anymore. Eliza leaned forward. Now, tell me what they did to you. I told her everything. The stolen college fund, Landon's gambling, the forged documents, the current poker scheme. Her face darkened with each detail. Have you noticed anything odd about Poppy lately? Eliza asked when I finished. Like what? Like maybe she's avoiding certain foods, running to the bathroom more often. My stomach dropped. You think she's pregnant? I think there's a reason they're rushing this engagement party. Eliza pulled out her phone, showing me a social media post. See this guy in the background of her old photos? That's Tommy Walsh. He used to run books for all the illegal poker games in town. And look at the date. 6 months ago, she was dating him. I stared at the photo. You think she knows about Landon's cheating? I think she knows a lot more than she's letting on. Eliza's smile turned wicked. Want to find out exactly how much? Just then, my phone buzzed. An anonymous email had been sent to Poppy, footage of Landon screaming at Dad about consequences and money. I knew because I'd sent it. Watch this, I said, showing Eliza my phone. 3 dots appeared as Poppy typed a response to the anonymous email. Please don't send this to anyone. We can talk. I know things about Landon too. Eliza whistled low. Oh, this is getting good. I need to go, I said, standing up. Mum's hosting a planning meeting for the engagement party. Before you go, Eliza caught my arm. Remember something. Margaret won't just roll over when you expose them. She'll fight dirty. Trust me, I know. I'm counting on it. The planning meeting was already in full swing when I arrived home. Mum had taken over the dining room with colour swatches and seating charts, while Poppy nodded along, looking slightly green. "There you are," Mum exclaimed. "We're discussing the toast order. You'll go after Landon's best man before the champagne service." Actually, I smiled sweetly, I was thinking I could do something special. A video presentation, maybe? Old family photos, memories. "Oh, that's perfect," Poppy said quickly. Too quickly. "I don't know," Mum frowned. "We're on a tight schedule." "Let her do it, Margaret," Dad cut in from the doorway. He hadn't met my eyes since our study conversation. "She's good with that technical stuff." My phone buzzed again. Another message from Poppy to the anonymous email. "I'm pregnant, but not with Landon's baby. Please, I need time to figure this out." I looked up at Poppy, who was now intensely studying a flower arrangement. She had no idea I was the one she was begging for time. "Don't worry, Mum," I said, watching Poppy's hand shake as she rearranged roses. "I'll make sure everyone sees exactly what they need to see." Later that night, Jet helped me compile the evidence while I drafted my speech. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. "Once you start this at the party, there's no going back." I thought about Eliza's stolen dreams, about Poppy's desperate messages, about Dad's shaking hands and Mum's dismissive smiles, about my empty bank account and shattered plans. "They're the ones who decided there was no going back," I said, typing the final lines of my speech. "I'm just making sure they can't go forward either." "Are you Vienna?" I asked the woman, sitting alone at the coffee shop window. She looked exactly like her social media photos, pretty, polished, and trying hard to hide how nervous she was. "Yes." She glanced around before leaning forward. "You said this was about Landon?" I placed my phone on the table, recording app ready. "Tell me about when you dated him." For the next hour, Vienna's composed facade cracked as she detailed her relationship with my brother. The emotional manipulation, the stolen money, the lies about gambling being under control, the threats when she tried to leave. "I wanted to warn Poppy," she said, wiping her eyes. "But he said he'd tell everyone I stole from him. He had screenshots of my bank account he'd doctored. Would you be willing to write all this down?" I slid a notebook across the table. "For Poppy?" Vienna's hand shook as she picked up the pen. "He'll know it was me." "No, he won't, because it won't come from you." I showed her the plan. "It'll be anonymous, delivered during the engagement party. You'll be hundreds of miles away at your sister's wedding." She started writing. Back home, Jet was hunched over his laptop in my room. "Got into the family's shared drive," he said without looking up. "Your dad's not great with passwords. You need to see this." He turned the screen toward me. Dozens of files filled the display, loan documents, payment records, settlement agreements, all under Dad's name, all tracing back to Landon. "Holy shit," I breathed. "How much money are we talking about?" "Enough to send you to college 3 times over." Jet clicked through more documents. "And look at this. Your mum's been cooking the books at her accounting firm to hide it all." My phone buzzed, a text from Mallory. "Need to talk to you. Now." I found her waiting on my front porch 20 minutes later. "You need to stop," she said as soon as I sat down. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb. Jet told me what you're planning." She grabbed my hand. "Cam, you're turning into them. All this manipulation and secrets." I pulled away. "They stole my future. And you're stealing your soul." She stood up, pacing. "The Camilla I know wouldn't..." "The Camilla you know died the day they chose Landon over me. Again." "Fine." Mallory's voice was quiet. "But when this is all over, don't expect me to help pick up the pieces." She left me sitting there, her words echoing in my head. But they weren't enough to stop me from sending the next email to Poppy, this one containing proof of Landon's current poker schemes. Her response came within minutes. Please, meet me, alone. We met at a park across town. Poppy sat on a bench, her designer purse clutched tight against her stomach. How far along are you? I asked, sitting beside her. She flinched. 3 months. And it's Tommy's, isn't it? The bookie? Tears spilled down her cheeks. Landon doesn't know. Nobody knows. Tommy and I... It was real. But then Landon found out about Tommy's connection to the poker games. He threatened to expose Tommy's whole operation unless I agreed to marry him. So, you're both using each other? I didn't know about your college fund, she whispered. I swear, I only found out after you were in too deep? I pulled out my phone, showing her the evidence I'd gathered. You have a choice, Poppy. You can go through with this sham marriage, or you can help me take him down. He'll destroy Tommy. Not if we destroy him first. She stared at the phone for a long moment. What do you need me to do? That night, I sat in my car outside the Grand, watching the staff set up for tomorrow's engagement party. My phone was full of new messages. From Vienna. Letters done. Don't let him hurt anyone else. From Poppy. Tommy agreed to help. He's furious about the poker cheating. From Jet. Got the AV system rigged for tomorrow. You ready? From Mallory. I still think you'll regret this. From Mum. Don't forget to wear the blue dress tomorrow. We need to look perfect as a family. Perfect. The word tasted like poison now. I pulled out the USB drive containing everything. The forged documents, the poker evidence, Vienna's letter, the bank records, the recorded conversations. Tomorrow, it would all come out during my special video presentation. Hey, Jet's voice came from the passenger seat. I hadn't even heard him get in. Last chance to back out. I thought about Mallory's warning, about Vienna's tears, about Poppy's trapped expression, about Aunt Eliza's stolen dreams. No, I said, starting the car. It's their last chance. The Grand lived up to its name. Crystal chandeliers cast elegant shadows across the ballroom as guests mingled, champagne flutes tinkling like wind chimes. Mum had outdone herself. Everything screamed perfection, from the ivory roses to the string quartet in the corner. You look beautiful, sweetie, Dad said, appearing beside me. His smile was strained. That blue dress really brings out my eyes? I adjusted the USB drive hidden in my clutch. Or my capacity for forgiveness. He flinched. Camilla, please. Time for the toasts. Mom's voice cut through the crowd. Everyone, please, take your seats. I watched Landon guide Poppy to their seats at the head table. She was wearing white, looking every bit the blushing bride-to-be, except for how tightly she gripped her water glass. Our eyes met briefly before she looked away. The best man's speech was predictably full of college stories and inside jokes. Then Mum clinked her glass, introducing me. And now, a special presentation from the sister of the groom. Camilla has put together some lovely family memories for us. The lights dimmed as I approached the microphone. Jet gave me a thumbs up from the AV booth. Family, I began, my voice steady. Such a loaded word, isn't it? We're told it means unconditional love, support, sacrifice. But sometimes... I clicked the remote, and the first image appeared on the screen behind me. A bank statement showing my empty college fund. Sometimes family means theft. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mum half rose from her seat, but Dad grabbed her arm. My brother Landon has always been the golden child. Click. A series of forged documents appeared. So golden that our father helped him steal my entire college fund to pay gambling debts. But that's not the interesting part. Click. Screenshots of Landon's multiple poker accounts filled the screen. The interesting part is what happened next. See, my dear brother didn't just keep gambling. He started cheating, winning big. But instead of paying back what he stole, click, the grand's invoice appeared. He threw himself an engagement party, quite a party, isn't it? Almost as expensive as a year's tuition. Camilla, stop this right now. Mum's voice shook with rage. Oh, but I'm not done, Mum, because this isn't just about money, is it? Click. Old bank statements from Aunt Eliza's account. It's about patterns, about how you stole from your own sister decades ago, about how you'll sacrifice anyone to maintain your perfect image. Eliza stood up from her table, raising her glass to me with a fierce smile. And speaking of perfect images, I turned to Poppy, who was ghost white. Would you like to tell everyone your news? Or should I? Don't you dare, Landon snarled, standing up. What news? Someone called out. Click. A photo of Poppy and Tommy from 6 months ago appeared. The baby isn't Landon's, but he knew that when he blackmailed her into this engagement, didn't he? The room erupted in chaos. Poppy burst into tears. Mom was screaming something about lies. Dad had his head in his hands. But wait! I raised my voice over the commotion. There's more! Remember that recording I mentioned, Dad? The one where you and Landon discussed forging my signature? Click. The audio began playing through the speakers. Dad's voice, clear as day. We can't keep doing this, Landon. Using your sister's account was wrong. Landon's response. Like I was ever afraid of consequences. You taught me that, Dad. Security, Mum shrieked. Cut the power. Too late, I said into the microphone. Everything's already been sent to everyone's phones. Check your emails. The crowd's phones started buzzing en masse. Landon lunged toward the AV booth, but Tommy, who'd been waiting in the wings, stepped in his way. Going somewhere? Tommy asked quietly. We should talk about those poker accounts. Poppy stood up, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, she said to the crowd. It's all true. I'm pregnant with Tommy's baby. Landon threatened to destroy him if I didn't agree to marry him instead. You stupid bitch, Landon spat, but several of Tommy's friends were surrounding him now. I placed the USB drive on Poppy's table. Everything's there. Bank records, forged documents, poker evidence, enough to bury everyone involved. I looked at my mother. Unless someone wants to finally do the right thing. You've ruined everything, Mum whispered, mascara running down her cheeks. No, Mom, you did that all by yourself. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Landon, those poker buddies you cheated, they're all here too. Have fun explaining that. As I walked out of the Grand, I heard glass shattering, more screaming, and the distinct sound of karma doing its work. Jet fell into step beside me. Holy shit, he breathed. You actually did it. No, I said, stepping into the cool night air. They did it. I just sent the receipts. 3 days after the engagement party, I sat across from my father in an empty IHOP at midnight. He looked like he'd aged a decade since I'd last seen him. Your mother's firm put her on unpaid leave, he said, pushing his untouched coffee around. They're conducting an ethics review. Funny how actions have consequences. I stabbed at my pancakes. How's Landon? Gone. Took off after Tommy's friends. He swallowed hard. Let's just say they weren't happy about the poker scam. And Poppy? Moved in with Tommy. She's pressing charges against Landon for blackmail. He finally met my eyes. The police want to talk to me about the forged documents. Imagine that. Camilla, please, we could lose everything. The house. You mean the house bought with Aunt Eliza's stolen money? He flinched. Your mother, she's not well. She keeps saying none of this would have happened if you'd just been a good daughter. A good daughter? I laughed bitterly. Like Landon was a good son? Tell me, Dad, how much did his gambling actually cost you over the years? I don't know anymore. The loans all blur together. Almost $500,000, I said. Jet traced it all. That's not counting my college fund or Aunt Eliza's money. The waitress refilled our coffees. Dad's hands shook as he reached for his cup. "What do you want from me?" he whispered. "Want? I wanted parents who loved me as much as they loved their son. I wanted the future I worked 18 years for. I wanted—" My voice cracked. "I wanted you to choose me. Just once. We can make it right. Somehow—" "No, Dad, you can't." I pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. "But you can sign these." "What are they?" "Confession documents, detailing everything, the fraud, the forgery, all of it. Sign them, and I won't press charges." His face crumpled. "You'd send your own father to jail? You stole my future to protect your precious son. Seems fair." He signed with trembling fingers. When I got home, Mum was waiting in my room. "Happy, now," she spat. "You've destroyed this family." "You did that yourself, one cover-up at a time." "Everything I did was for this family." "No," I said quietly. "Everything you did was for Landon. And look how well that turned out. Get out." Her voice shook. "Get out of my house." "Gladly. But first—" I handed her a copy of Dad's confession. "You might want to read this before your ethics review." She scanned the pages, face growing paler. "He wouldn't. He did. And tomorrow, Aunt Eliza's lawyer will be contacting you about the house." I started packing my clothes. Turns out there's no statute of limitations on fraud when new evidence emerges. "You ungrateful. Save it. Your perfect family's gone, Mum. And you can't blame anyone but yourself." My phone buzzed, a text from Poppy. "I'm keeping the baby. Tommy and I are moving away. Thank you for helping me escape." Another message popped up from an unknown number. "Hey, sis. Real cute show you put on. Hope you're happy being alone." "Landon," I muttered. "He'll never forgive you," Mum said. "Good. Because I'll never forgive him either." I finished packing and walked out, leaving her standing in my empty room. Aunt Eliza was waiting in her Corvette outside. "You can stay with me as long as you need," she said as I threw my bags in the back. "They'll lose everything, won't they? The house, their reputations, probably their jobs." She smiled grimly. "Karma's a bitch, and so are we. Mallory says I'm just as bad as them now." "No, honey." Eliza squeezed my hand. "You're worse. You're what they created." Later that night, I sat on Eliza's guest bed, scrolling through the aftermath. Mum's firm had suspended her pending investigation. Dad's confession had been forwarded to the police. Landon's poker victims were looking for him. The perfect family had shattered like a champagne flute dropped on marble floors. My phone lit up with a final text from Dad. "Your debt was in karma. I just added interest." "No," I typed back. "My debt was in blood, and I just collected." I blocked his number and lay back, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow, I'd start figuring out loans and scholarships. Tomorrow, I'd begin rebuilding my future from the ashes of their perfect lies. But tonight? Tonight, I'd sleep knowing that sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold, it's served with receipts. The acceptance letter sat on my tiny apartment kitchen table while I made instant ramen for dinner. Different university, smaller scholarship, massive loans, but it was mine. No family strings attached. My phone buzzed. Jet's face appeared on the screen. "Turn on the news," he said without greeting. "Channel 7. I flicked on my second-hand TV just in time to see my mother being led out of her office in handcuffs. The caption read, "Local accountant arrested for fraud." "Holy shit," I whispered. "That's not all," Jet said. "Keep watching." The reporter continued. "This arrest follows a larger investigation into illegal gambling operations, leading to multiple arrests, including prominent poker player Landon." I dropped my phone. Someone knocked on my door. Through the peephole, I saw Mallory shifting nervously from foot to foot. "I was wrong," she said when I opened the door, "about you becoming like them." "What changed your mind?" She held up her phone, showing me an email from Vienna. "She's helping other women Landon hurt come forward. Said you gave her the courage." "Come in," I said. "I have enough ramen for 2. We sat at my tiny table, the acceptance letter between us like a peace offering. "You're really going back to school?" she asked. "Different dream, same determination." I stirred my noodles. Engineering instead of medicine. Turns out destroying elaborate lies gave me a taste for solving complex problems. My phone buzzed again. A text from Poppy. "Had my first ultrasound today. It's a girl. I'm naming her Hope." "How poetic," Mallory smiled. Another knock. This time it was Aunt Eliza, holding a bottle of wine and wearing a triumphant smile. "They're selling the house," she announced, pulling out cups from my sparse cabinet. "Court ordered. Part of the restitution." "To Karma," I raised my cup. "To receipts," Jet added, appearing in my still open doorway. We crowded around my small table, this makeshift family of misfits and truth-tellers. My phone kept lighting up with updates. From Vienna. 3 more women came forward. He can't hurt anyone else now. From Tommy. "Poppy's safe. We're happy, thank you." From Dad. "I'm sorry," followed by "message not delivered. Number blocked." "You know what the best part is?" Eliza said, refilling cups. "Margaret's perfect reputation is gone. All those country club friends who believed her lies about me, they've seen her true colours now." Speaking of true colours, Jet pulled out his laptop. "Remember those poker sites Landon cheated on? They're refunding his victims. And guess who's getting a whistleblower reward?" I nearly choked on my wine. "How much?" He turned the screen toward me. The number had enough zeros to cover my first year's tuition. "Karma pays interest," Mallory laughed. "Better than family loyalty," I agreed. A final knock. The room went quiet as I opened the door to find Landon's ex-fiancée. "Poppy?" She looked different, stronger, calmer. "I brought you something." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a check, exactly the amount of my stolen college fund. "Tommy insisted," she said. "Said it was the least we could do, since your exposure of Landon's poker scam saved his operation from being discovered." "I can't." "You can. And you will." She touched her growing belly. "Some debts need to be paid forward, not back." I looked around my tiny apartment. At Mallory, who'd found her way back. At Jet, who'd never left. At Eliza, who'd shown me how to rise from ashes. At this unexpected check that closed a karmic circle. "Stay," I said to Poppy. "We're having a celebration of sorts." "To what?" "To consequences," Eliza raised her cup. "To truth," added Mallory. "To new dreams," I said, picking up my acceptance letter. "To family," Poppy said quietly. "The kind we choose." We toasted with mismatched cups in my cramped apartment, while on TV my old family's perfect facade crumbled in headlines and handcuffs. Outside, the city hummed with possibilities. Inside, we laughed and planned and healed. My phone lit up one last time. A news alert. Local families fall from grace. A story of fraud, gambling, and betrayal. I turned off the TV. "You know what's better than revenge?" I asked, looking at these people who'd chosen truth over perfection, loyalty over lies. "What's that?" Jet asked, and which "Living well," I said, raising my cup again. "With receipts." They laughed, and in that laughter I heard everything I'd really been fighting for. Not vengeance, but vindication. Not destruction, but reconstruction. Not the past, but the future. A future that was finally, completely mine.